Tonight promises to be an interesting session. Our guests, Kaselchumfa Malachi, will be discussing on the topic navigating your way through information technology, and with a focus on data. So primarily, we want to try and understand what it means to do data analysis, or what it means to get into the data analysis ecosystem and space, and also of what use is it now in 21st century. How can you make money from it? How can you start earning from it? How can you even go into it in the first place? Right? So a quick bio from our guest speaker tonight. He's a graduate of geography, and before transitioning into data analysis and business intelligence, he specializes in using data to tell stories, also using data to give insights, which then translates into informed decision making, right? And hopefully you learn about some of the tools he has used to do all this. He has worked with a lot of international institutions and organizations, and he's also into training as well. Okay. Okay, so let me let's hear from the Aussie mouth himself. Hi, Chimfa.
Hi, Toby. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Can you all hear me?
We can hear you good, sir. We can hear you good.
Yeah, we
Okay.
can hear you. Yeah,
All right.
we
Thanks.
can hear you.
Thanks. All right. Thanks for the
Yeah.
feedback. Uh, okay. So, I don't know, Toby. I think you've done major introductions. Okay, but let me just introduce myself briefly. My name is Kaselchumfa David Malachi. Like I said, I'm a graduate of geography from Ahmadu Bello University. I'm currently a data analyst, but we transitioned a little bit from geographic information systems, that's GIS, my major, and then I've been doing this for close to say 6 7 years now at the moment. Um, yeah, and like I said, work with a couple of local and international organizations, and yeah, I think that'll be all for now.
Amazing. So amazing. Thank you, Chimfa. So it's going to be like a straight up into the core of what we need to talk about, right? And then
Oh, great, great,
yeah,
yeah,
after our discussion, anybody that has a question, you can just raise up your hand, and then you can ask your question directly, and Chimfa will try to answer it. Right.
awesome.
So I think the first thing we want to know is, like, two people here now don't even have a skill. They're trying to just go into tech, right? So I think what I like to start with is just hearing your journey. How did you go into data? Somebody that didn't actually know anything about this data analysis, and for somebody that has gone through all the ranks and doing what you're doing now, can we learn about your story and your journey?
Okay, awesome. I always feel very excited to tell my story because I feel like one way or the other, it's going to inspire someone to do better than I'm doing at the moment, or to spur you to begin wherever you are. I'm a proponent of. I think I have a few persons on this call that have interacted with me personally. Charlie is one of them. Sumola is also one of them, and then maybe just a few others to join because, like I said, when I posted this on my status earlier today, a few people reached out and wanted to get to know about this and all of that. Yeah. So for me, I think my curiosity with data started from the university. We're doing geographic data, analyzing data like the GIS part and all of that. But again, one of the things I figured out was the fact that interacting with GIS data, especially for a country like Nigeria, it was difficult and it was a bit expensive to be able to like access. So there was already a challenge, and the fact that some of the applications we were using at that point in time, they were not open source. You would have to pay a license to get some of those things. So it was a bit difficult. It wasn't like people were not already in the field, but it got to a point where if you were not working with an organization and things like that, it was quite a Herculean task to just breaking into GIS and all of that. So thank God for mentors. I would always say that thank God for mentors. So I had this mentor. He's in Lagos, Nigeria at the moment. And then we talked because it felt like I was doing GIS and I wasn't making much waves and things like that. That's not what I wanted. So at the end of the day, I spoke with him and he just told me, he said, there's this thing going on, like it's what's in vogue. right? And he said I could do data, I could do product, and all of that. And like I would always say, thank God for mentors. He paid for my first training. I always reference him. I can't speak about my journey without mentioning my mentor, right? So he took a risk with me and paid for my first training in data analytics. And because I knew I had the responsibility to him and to also myself, I passed and scaled it well. And I wrote my first certification via him, and the end is history, like they say. But transitioning into data too hasn't been quite a walk in the park, because for someone like me, I made some mistakes, I made some bumps, I went into some difficult road and things like that. But like I would always say, thank God for mentors. Some of them held me by the hands and gave me pieces of advice that I've run with till now, and some of them are still holding my hand even up until now, and things like that. So I think as we progress, I'll keep breaking things down and just demystifying them as they come. But I think so far so good. This has just been my journey, and it's like I said, it's been 6 7 years, and hopefully we keep adding more as we progress. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you for that, sir. So next, right, what are the key roles that you think that data plays in the information technologies ecosystem? What are some key roles that you feel like you cannot do without data? Data has to be involved in them.
Okay, okay. So one of the things I tell people is data is everywhere. I've seen posts where people would say things like data is the new oil and whatnot. Yeah. So as long as you work in an organization, I would always say to generate data, whether it's structured, unstructured, big data as the case may be, you generate data. Just even just getting the information of your staff, that's data you're generating, especially when you accumulate them and store them in a repository as the case may be. So yeah, data is very important in everyday lives because it helps allow us make informed decisions. We don't just make decisions because we feel like making decisions. We don't make decisions based on assumption. All right, so data helps us give informed decisions. And the field of data is very wide. Fortunately, like it's very wide, and I always tell people we have more than enough skills for people to come into data and thrive. Unfortunately, I think a lot of us, or maybe just a few of us, know just the very popular ones. But if you go online and search and ask what are the very common fields in data, I can assure you see more than 20 fields in data. But I know for a few persons, we know about data engineering, we know about data science, we know about data analysis, we know about business analytics, and maybe visualization analyst and things like that. But we have 1,001 skills in data alone. We're not talking about tech generally now. Tech is even very wide. We're just talking about in data alone. If you talk about the different skill sets that you have in data, all of us on the call can comfortably do different skills at our convenient time, and based on our own what you call it now, peculiarity, and our strengths and weaknesses and things like that. So yeah, data is very important and it plays a very very major role, especially for those that are leveraging it for informed decisions. Yeah.
Yeah, great. Well, now that you've talked about skills, right, and the various categories of data, now can you like give us the specifics now, certain skill sets or categories that you feel that can people can go into and can build a career in such areas?
All right. Yeah, sure. Why not? I think what we'll do is we'll stick with the very common ones, but then I think on our own, out of curiosity, we can just go back and just try to make research and find out things for ourselves. So I think I'll just delve a little bit about data engineering, data analysis, data science, and geospatial analysts and business analytics. All right. So I'll just talk briefly on these ones that I've mentioned. So one of the things I've noticed, especially for most organizations in Nigeria, particularly, is that some organizations, when it comes to recruitment, some of them try to intertwine what you call it now, the JDs of applicants or people that want to get into that organization. Take for example, Sometimes you see a job description that would say, oh, we're looking for a data analyst. And by the time you begin to go through the job description, you begin to see they're asking for skill sets that a data engineer would typically do and a data scientist would do. That is actually wrong, because sometimes I want to believe that maybe the HR that put out that what you call it now, the application does not even know the difference. But the truth is, they are not the same. A data analyst is not a data scientist. A data scientist is not a data engineer. They are quite different with respect to their job descriptions, the tools they use, their remunerations, and whatnot, and all of that. Now, just so we don't get out of context, every data professional is important in the ecosystem. That's one of the first things I would always say. Every data professional is very important in the ecosystem, because when you work in a specialized environment or a system that works, you discover that every data professional, they have their skills, they have their requirements, they have their job description, and when you're done with a particular job, you move it to the next person. He or she does their job, they move it to the next person, and it's not as Herculean and tasking as we sometimes tend to put it out there. All right, so typically, what does a data engineer do? Most most times in an organization, a data engineer, they are the ones that are responsible for building data pipelines in that organization. So when you talk about data ingestion, bringing in data and building systems for that organization, they are mostly done by data engineers. So you want to bring in data, you want to store that data in a database, whether it's in the cloud or on a repository on a local on-premise server. So it could be like on your desktop or on a server room that you have in an organization. The data engineer is responsible for doing that. So most times, data engineers are focused towards cloud computing. So they can leverage tools like maybe AWS, that's Amazon Web Service. They can leverage Google Cloud Platform, that's GCP, or they can leverage Microsoft Azure. All right, and they build platforms on those cloud services. At the same time, a data engineer would leverage SQL Server, that's SQL. All right. So what is Postgres? What is Microsoft SQL Server? What is MySQL or SQLite? They can deploy those algorithms and build those platforms on those server. Now, once a data engineer builds that, sometimes what they do is they work hand in hand with a data scientist or a data analyst in an organization. Now, what does a data analyst does? He or she is responsible for cleaning data that has been ingested or stored by the data engineer into a business analytical tool or a business intelligence tool. So when we talk about tools now, we can begin to talk about things like Microsoft Excel, things like Power BI, Tableau, Python programming, R programming, SPSS, and the likes. All right. So a data analyst, typically, he or she would be responsible for cleaning data and transforming that data. They would also be responsible for modeling that data and writing some queries. So when we talk about queries, we're talking about things like data analysis expressions. All right. So that's where most of the calculations and whatnot will be done. At that point in time, in a specialized environment, that would be the only thing a data analyst would do. When he or she is done with that, they move that project to a data visualization analyst. All right. So a data visualization analyst is responsible for designs. All right. They use tools like Figma. They use tools like what do you call it, Adobe, and the likes. Mostly design tools, even as much as saying things like Corel Draw. All right, or even Canva. A data visualization analyst can leverage Canva for design. So if you have a flair for designs, or you love to, play around with colors and all of that thing, you can get into data, but you may not be doing the heavy lifting. So you can just do basically designs and all of that. But I understand that in the context of being a Nigerian and things like that, sometimes you'll be required to do all of these things. So it's more like you're doing a generalist role. All right. Now, a data scientist, on the other hand, would also be responsible for building machine learning algorithms. All right. So when we're talking about things that are relating to AI, artificial intelligence, and machine learning, that's mostly the responsibility of a data scientist, and they can build on it. Also, we also have what they call database managers or administrators. We call them DBAs. What they typically do is they are the ones responsible for giving you some level of access in an organization. So you join an organization, and sometimes they do your onboarding and all of that, and then they'll tell you, oh, because you're just joining this organization as a newbie, there are certain levels of access you don't have, except you're being promoted or something of that sort. There are some data sets you cannot interact with and things like that. So it's the database administrator in an organization typically that will be responsible for doing that. So they manage assets, they give control, they give access, and whatnot and things like that. So that's about that. Then a geospatial analyst would mostly be linked towards analyzing geospatial data. So you can have geospatial analysts that are focused with building maps. All right, they want to check out spread of disease over time, and they want to visualize it on a map and put it out there for people to use and bring out insight from it. So anything that has to do with locations or like longitude, latitude, people's address, and whatnot, anything that has to do with location, you give it to a geospatial analyst or a GIS analyst typically. So I think I'll just stop here and then we continue. Yeah.
Wow, thank you for that. Really well said and well done. So I hope everybody has taken notes. You mentioned being a data engineer, being a data scientist, a data analyst, being a data visualization analyst, and also a geospatial
Yeah.
analyst. And then these are skill set,
And it
these are categories of data analysis that anybody can like need
venture
build
in,
a
yeah.
niche on or venture into. Amazing. Amazing. So next question, how do you start? Right? If
Yeah.
I'm Messi and I want to be like a engineer or choose any of those category, what's the first thing you advise me to do?
All right, great. So first thing I tell people is be true to yourself, right? That's a very, very core aspect of your journey that you would want to do. I've seen people that got into data and few months they fainted along the way. Why? Because at some point, some got into it because maybe that was in vogue, or maybe because they felt, oh, my friend is doing this, so I want to also do that. So I'll tell you, for you to get into data, one of the first questions I ask people that come to me to say, oh, I want to venture into data, I'll ask you, why do you want to get into data? Sit down and ask yourself that question. Because when you ask yourself that question, intuitively, you will tell yourself the truth. Am I getting into data because this is what is in vogue, or am I getting into data because of the money? Yes, let's not deny there's money in tech. We're not even going to deny that, yes, but before the money comes, you would sweat.
Less
That's
than
the
what you
honest
spend
truth.
on lunch
All right, so
today, you
yeah,
could
but
start pulling
beyond
in
that, I
free
always say
qualified
things
leads
like
for your
ask yourself
wholesaling
this
or flipping
fundamental
business.
question:
This
why am I
could
getting into this field? All right, why do I want to venture into data? All right, now when you've asked yourself that questions, there are fundamental pathways that you would not want to compromise. I give us a very typical story, a personal story. So when I started my journey in data, I was more focused about tools. Like I wanted to jump on every tool that was out there. I wanted to learn everything. I was very, very like pumped. I wanted to learn Tableau. I wanted to learn Power BI, Excel, everything. But you see, the truth is, let's be honest with ourselves. We can't learn all the tools that are out there. That's the honest truth. Why? Tools are also region based. All right. So it's possible that in Nigeria, they use Power BI or Tableau. But the truth is, if you travel out of Nigeria, it's possible that they may not even be leveraging those tools. So one of the things I'll tell people is be open to learning. First things first, be open to learning. Be open to learning. Because in the field of data, there is no stopping. It's a continuum. There is never a point where you get too comfortable and tell yourself that you've learned everything. That's a lie. That's a lie. I can tell you with all humility that even in my number of years in data, I am still learning till today. And I'm still open to learning. I learn from my students, I learn from clients, I learn from people that I do consulting from, and I learn from books. All right. So you have to be open to learning because your ability to learn and move into tools would also help you. I had a mentor that left Nigeria and went to the UK, and while he was in Nigeria, He's a Power BI expert, but when he went to the UK, he discovered that in the UK, some, not all, the organization he works with, they don't even use Power BI. What they were using at that point in time was a tool called Alteryx. Now, the good thing about it was he was actually given a probation period for 6 months. And during the probation period, the organization was willing to even train him in all tricks. So that's why I would always say be willing to learn and unlearn. All right. Be willing to learn and unlearn because there are 1,001 tools. Just recently, I started learning a tool that is called Nime. KNIME. It's called Nime. And the tool is actually very interesting. I never even knew about Nime, but there's a project I'm working on at the moment that requires for me to learn Nime. So I'm learning Nime at the moment. So that's why I would always say be open to learning because the learning curve never stops. For tools, there will be more than enough tools out there for you to learn. But like I would always say, yes, there's a fundamental and there's always a launching pad. As an analyst or a data professional, at least you should know a little bit of how to navigate through Microsoft Excel from things like Excel functions. You can use pivot tables. You can do a report or something of that sort. Then you can learn a business intelligence tool for visualization, especially if you're working with big data. So we have tools like Tableau, we have tools like Power BI, we have tools like Alteryx, we have tools like Nime, the one I'm also learning. We have tools like Python programming, R programming, and the like. So there are tools out there that you can learn, but don't be too focused on the tools, all right? Because, like I said, there would always be room for learning and relearning in the field of data. Yeah.
So, yeah, just a quick bump on that thought. So, if you say don't be too focused on the tools, is there any other option? Is there any other thing that you feel that those that are just coming into the system should be focused on?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Like I said, you would typically have a roadmap. At least you should have a roadmap
Mm-hmm.
on the tools to learn. Of course, you should have a roadmap on the tools to learn based on environment because I also mentioned that
Okay,
for the
based on
fact that
environment.
yes, exactly based on environment. All right. So, um, most organizations, at least that I know, typically in Nigeria, they would not use Alteryx or Nime. All right. So, at this point in time, I wouldn't even advise anyone in Nigeria to use Nime or Alteryx, as the case may be. But then, if you get into an organization that uses that, why not? You can always learn it. All right. Because one of the things I understand with people is some people are very laid back when it comes to tech adoption. All right. We don't
Mm-hmm.
want to move from what we're very comfortable with to learning something new. All right. So that's the thing. But obviously, there's going to be a roadmap. And please, mentorship is it's very important. Trust me. You may not go far in tech or in data without having someone to like be there to guide you or to hold your hands and to tell you a few things. It may not even necessarily be um joining on a call to do assignments or projects or something. Sometimes they can give you pieces of advice that you can use and run for a lifetime. Trust me. And based on experience, sometimes even when it comes to job, what do you call it now, interview sessions, and maybe bargaining, how to bargain for maybe salary structure and all of those things, your mentors, based on experience, can help guide you, give you a glimpse of what is or what is the barest minimum or something of that sort that you
Yeah.
can leverage. Then another thing is networking. You would always There's something about networking. Trust me, like networking is you can't even overemphasize that. I've gotten jobs just from networking and recommendation. That's one thing I know for sure that I won't lie. I've leveraged well in my journey. I've leveraged networking. When I started, I was always very loud on social media. I can't even lie about that. Like on social media, my Facebook, my Instagram, my Twitter, and even on my WhatsApp, I'm always very loud. Oh, this is an analysis I did. I post it out there and all of those things. And people see. That's the honest truth. People see. They may not even interact with it, but people see. And out of the blues, I got my first data job from Twitter. I got my first data job from Twitter. Someone just reached out to me in the DM and said, I have this job, this, and it was from all the way from Canada. Like
Mm.
I was in Nigeria there, yeah, and then person reached out and said, "Can you do this job for us? This, and all of that thing." And then I didn't even know anything about bargaining for data role and all of those things. I was excited, right? And I jumped on it and I had it. But again, I learned from that job. I got a few experiences, and yeah, like I said, the rest is history. Yeah.
Yeah. Quick one, sir. Are there specific sites or job boards where you can see roles for data analysis? Because I think someone is asking that question. So he's saying that he majorly sees data science, data engineering, and machine engineering. But even when he sees data analysis, they are talking about you having like a background in accounting, finance, or statistics and all that. So do you have
Okay.
some specific job boards that I can look through?
Yeah, sure, sure. For jobs and openings, truth be told, like I said, one of the things that for me as a person that has helped me is the power of connection. I have a few that I think Toby, we've talked about this in time past, that
Yes.
I'm willing to share. Yes, exactly, with the community here. So as they come, but like I said, one of the things or one of the challenges I notice personally is that like the person rightly said, sometimes when you see jobs, especially if they are remote jobs outside, the truth is, first things first that might knock you off is your location. That's the honest truth. There's something about, no offense, there's something about being in Nigeria, right?
Mm.
And we already know that to a very large extent, we have these. Let me put it. There's the Yahoo Yahoo thing. There's the bad record already. Yeah, we are not all like that, but the truth is, there's already a general perception. So the truth is, as a Nigerian, in Nigeria, it's like you have to prove yourself beyond reasonable doubt. All right, for someone to give you a role remotely. All right, especially when you don't even have, let's say, experience at all, right? The person would be putting a risk to want to give you a job and other things like that. But again, we know that there are times where we see on social media there are internships, there are some jobs you do. Yeah, it may not even really be paying, but sometimes you just want to build your resume, you want to build your track record, you want to build your portfolio and things like that, so that when the big one comes, you can just plunge out and leverage it and all of that. Again,
Yeah.
again, one of the things that I would always say is, please don't feel intimidated when you see job descriptions. I'll tell you why. So I had this friend in Abuja back then. He was an MI expert, and while he was applying for that role, there were a lot of, you need to have this, you need to have a master's, you need to have this and all of that. Yeah, they put those things out there. Sometimes it's deliberate to knock you off, because when you see those things and you deep down, yes, I know for some of them we don't even qualify. But the truth again, there's something about going for an interview and you have some level of confidence and you can speak. All right. So when you go, and then sometimes when you even get the job, you discover that some of the tools they use in that particular job description, it doesn't go beyond some basic tools like Excel. So my friend got the job
Mm.
and he would tell me, you say, Malachi, I'm using just Excel in this in my office. I don't go beyond Excel because that's what does the job for them. But you
Yeah.
see, in the job description, they'll tell you, oh, do this, do this, do that. I also had a personal experience. So I remembered how that an organization, a bank, let me put, I don't want to mention the bank, but then they reached out, someone from the bank reached out to me and said, Malak, I want to give you an offer. This is it, and all of those things. Now, this is it. On the job description, what they wrote was they need someone that has a master's degree in data analytics,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
told the guy, and I said I don't have a master's in data analytics, right? At least what I know at best, I have a postgraduate diploma in scientific computation and Python programming and all of that from a university in the US and all of that. And he said, this is what the person told me. He said, bro, don't worry. We just wrote those things to scare people, right? So I'm giving us a glimpse of what is obtainable out there. Sometimes they
Yeah.
do it so that by yourself, so that sometimes by yourself, you might just feel like, oh, I don't qualify, and then you're laid back. But there's something about having some level of confidence. Trust me, guys, when you go for an interview, whether it's virtual or on site. There's something about carrying an aura of confidence. Go there, speak to them, talk with them. Trust me, even if you don't know the job, sometimes they take a chance on you and give you the job and train you by the side, right?
Yeah,
And let's not also forget, there are some jobs that would give you probation for maybe 1 year or 6 months. So come on, guys. If I'm on a job and I know I have probation for 1 year, I'll do everything in my power to to keep that job, right? So
yeah.
yeah,
There's
so
hardly a
that's my
job.
advice.
Yeah, there's hardly a job that will not actually have in office training, sort of, right?
Yeah,
Sometimes you
exactly,
get
exactly.
into the
Yes,
system
exactly.
and they now teach you,
Them and
they
then
teach you what
she
to
teach
do
you, yeah,
within the
some
confines
core.
of their office or
Yes,
organization. So
exactly, exactly.
thank you
Yeah,
so
yeah,
much,
yeah,
Chumfa.
yeah,
So we don't really have
yeah,
much time.
yeah.
We'll be ending the webinar soon. But quick one about my sport. So really, guys, so for us, we again want to connect talents like yourself to global opportunities and also teach them how to get these jobs and also the skill sets they need to get this job. Gatherings like this is one of the things we do to bring experts and people that have actually gotten their hands dirty, and to tell you their stories, let you know in specifics the things you need to do to get your career started, right? And then to Oluwaseun, I don't know if you registered on my spore, but one of the things we're doing in my spore is to actually post jobs that you can apply to and also connect you with internship opportunities or programs or even skill opportunities if you need them, as so long as they are free, right? Like I said, this comes from a personal struggle as an individual and the need for me to basically just solve it in hopes that it can inspire somebody, right? So let me give you a quick rundown of what we do in my sport. Basically, we connect or help African talents in brand marketing, design, and technology connect with global opportunities. Like I said, we're focused in African talents because we feel like this is where the future is. In a few years, will have the biggest capacity when it comes to manpower. Individuals between the ages of 16 to like 25, they'll all be in Africa. But the question is, will you be ready when people are bringing these jobs to you? Will you be ready? Will you have the skill set? Will you be armed with the knowledge and the capacity and the tools, right? So that's what we're doing. When you sign up as a talent, which is for free, by the way, you get access to job opportunities. We're still adding more job opportunities. We add the opportunities as it comes. We add them as it comes. So as we begin to interact with businesses, we see opportunities, we add them. You can apply for it as a talent. But more so, you have like a talent dashboard where you have like your wallets you can earn in Nigeria or USD. You can attend events, like I said. You have opportunities to attend programs, learning courses, and you are positioned online, right? Because you have a specific profile, like this is me. I'm in Abuja. I'm an expert in graphic design. This is how much I earn per hour. These are the overview of what I do, my skill sets, my location. Employers can download my CV. I can even send me a direct message if they wanted to, right? So I want to invite everyone to sign up on my spot. It's for free, like I said, at least for now, it's free. So you can sign up. You have access to all these things for free. If somebody just needs your profile or your resume, you don't have to print anything out or send them a PDF. Just send them this unique link. This is you online. You can even host your project and build a portfolio within our ecosystem, right? So these are some of the things that we are bringing to you on my spore. And we will I so the one thing that I and Chumfa were talking about is we looked at a CV from somebody in data analysis, but a few things were not right. We're hoping that we'll dive into that today, but time will not permit us. So what will happen is I'll have him do like another video where he can just analyze what your CV should look like as a data analyst or as somebody in tech. So this, I believe, can position you to be either if you are getting internship roles or getting full-time positions, this can position you to get it well. I'm sure we'll ask him of his bill, but it's something we'll always sort out. All right, Chimfa, will you help us
No,
with
no, no, no.
this?
Okay, okay, okay. So let me make a very quick commitment here. So guys, and I'm saying it to you, Toby, too. I'll do that for free. Trust me. I'm more about building communities. Trust me. It's not really about the money. A simple thank you goes a long way, and it will be a thing of joy to know that we're doing this and we're impacting lives, right? So
Yeah.
it's not about the money or any other thing or something of that sort. Let's keep impacting lives and let's keep making meaningful what you call it interactions. I'm here. I'm also on the WhatsApp group, right?
Mm,
And yeah. So for me as a person, even for the what you call it now, the journey or how to get started. Toby, I'll share some of those things with you for as many that would
okay.
want to connect. Yeah, exactly. We can do that. What do you call it now? I know I have at least I know to a very large extent based on experience and the way things have happened. There are instances like you mentioned, Toby, that sometimes we see some openings and we see some certifications free that we can join up. Sometimes you can have a challenge from Microsoft. You finish a module and Microsoft sends you a certification for you to write. I think on a very good day we can talk about the difference between certification and certificate of attendance or certificate of completion.
Yeah.
They are two
Yeah.
different things. Yeah, exactly. So I think the webinar would eventually we could still span and do a few things as we progress, because like you said, we can't finish all the conversations today, right? So would continue our conversations, as we progress, and we'll keep demystifying some of these things for people as much as we can.
Okay, cool. Cool. So maybe we can just schedule another one next week if it's okay. Same time.
Perfect,
And
perfect,
maybe
perfect,
okay,
perfect.
amazing.
That works.
Amazing. All
Yeah.
right, guys. So we'll do another one next week. We'll still be focused on data analysis, and then we can look at maybe another niche, maybe courses you can take, free courses you can take,
Yeah, yeah,
or tools you
exactly.
can
Yeah, yeah.
use, and how to
True.
best get started with them. All right. So I've also sent you a few links. You can join the MySport community or create an account on MySport as a talent. We connect you to jobs and opportunities as we receive them as well. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for your time. A lot of people joined all the way late, but we want to make this 1 hour and as prompt as can be. So all right, guys, enjoy your weekend and thank you for your time.
All
Cheers.
right,
Bye,
guys.
guys.
Enjoy your weekend and have a good one then.
Yeah, bye.
All right.